Welcome to Vegan Savage's jackfruit pulled pork recipe adapted from the many available throughout the interwebs. Starting with our slaw, our ingredients are a half a head of red cabbage, 2 carrots, 8 scallions, a quarter cup peanut oil, a quarter cup red wine vinegar, a tablespoon sesame seed, a teaspoon salt, a quarter teaspoon black pepper, and the juice of 1 lime. When putting our slaw together, I like to combine our dry ingredients before mixing in the liquids for a more evenly dispersed result. If you didn't catch the ingredients, don't worry, you can check the description for a written recipe. I watched a lot of videos and I read a lot of recipes when I was preparing for this. When I was scouring the interwebs in preparation for making these jackfruit pulled pork sandwiches, I noticed a lot of people in their videos were using dry measurement cups for their liquid ingredients. I personally think it's important to use the proper tools, but you do you. Another common instruction was to make your slaw while the jackfruit was cooking. In fact, every recipe I came across gave that instruction, and while it probably saves you time, I prefer to prepare the slaw first as it gives it a chance to marinate and allows the flavors to marry, so to speak. So we'll pop that into the refrigerator and move on to the jackfruit marinade. The jackfruit marinade ingredients are a quarter cup vegan BBQ sauce, 2 tablespoons brown sugar, 1 teaspoon smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, half a teaspoon salt, half a teaspoon pepper, and half a teaspoon of chili powder. Add the dry ingredients to the barbecue sauce and whisk those together to make a nice thick marinade for that jackfruit. Again, if you missed those ingredients, don't worry, you can check that description below. After we have that all ready, we're going to set that aside and move on to preparing our jackfruit. This recipe calls for 2 cans of 20-ounce young green jackfruit in water. You may have never heard of this ingredient before. It also comes canned in brine or juice, so be sure to read the label carefully. Pro tip, the easiest place to find this ingredient is your local Asian food market. To prepare the jackfruit for marinating, drain both cans and cut away the cores. As you're doing this, you also want to be thoroughly searching the jackfruit for pods, as they're not for eating. Throw those away with the cores, as you don't want to be serving those. Once you have only the usable jackfruit left, you'll want to dry it before coating it in your marinade. I used paper towels to pat it dry, and then I set it aside to air dry while I prepared the cashews. Here's a look at the prepped jackfruit. I placed a half a cup of unsalted cashews in a Ziploc bag for crushing. This step is optional, as you don't have to top the sandwiches with cashews, and you can take it as far as you want. I'm just giving a light crushing with this can from Stumptown Brewery in Eugene. You may like salted cashews or even prefer whole cashews for topping your sandwiches. Now we move on to cooking our jackfruit, or pulled pork if you will. Make sure your pan is hot before adding your oil of choice. I chose to go with extra virgin olive oil in this case, and 2 tablespoons is plenty enough for our next step, which is browning. Here you can see what the jackfruit looks like when coated in your marinade. Add your cooked jackfruit to the oil and cook for 3 to 5 minutes for browning. I pre-mixed a quarter cup of water and 3/4 cups of barbecue sauce to be added to the pan after the browning. Here you can see what it looks like with our final ingredient added. You're going to bring that to a simmer, cover, and reduce the heat to medium-low. During the next 35 to 40 minutes of cooking, remove the lid periodically, and using 2 forks, you're going to shred the jackfruit as if it were actually pulled pork. Before long, your home will be filled with a savory aroma, and you'll see the jackfruit truly imitates pulled pork. Just before our jackfruit is ready, I put some slider buns on the skillet to brown, and for my gluten-free mommy, corn tortillas. Plating this dish was not my strongest aspect of making this video, but I think it speaks volumes for the anticipation and excitement to taste test these. As you can see, both my parents anxiously waiting nearby and pop into the frame. Obviously, people have individual preferences, and you can serve these accordingly. You can even add in garnishes of your liking. It doesn't matter whether you choose to serve with slaw on the bottom or the top, with or without cashews. Just make it so everybody gets what they want. After plating the pulled pork tacos under the supervision and instruction of my mother, I realized that serving the pulled pork jackfruit with tongs isn't the best option. It's a little sticky and hard to do, so at this point I switched to a serving spoon to serve up my dad's sliders. Originally, I wanted to feed these to my brother and see if he was fooled into thinking that it was meat. Plans had to be changed, however, so he wasn't here for this. While I was cooking, my dad was out in his garden harvesting some Sugar Sun tomatoes to serve alongside our vegan pulled pork sandwiches. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and without further ado, on to the taste test.
You would have fooled Ian. There's two vegan meals that I just fell in love with.
The hot dog?
The hot dogs, yeah.